So hey guys, and welcome back, and today I'm going to do the ever requested contour and highlight tutorial. So I decided to do the rest of my makeup, so I've got my foundation on. I've kept the eyes pretty neutral just because I want the focus to be more on the contour, just a bit of lip gloss. So the first thing that I usually do in my contouring routine is I'll use a cream contour first. Now this isn't essential, you don't have to use cream and powder, you can just use either cream or powder depending what works for you best or what you just prefer using on your skin. I just tend to use both because I am excessive and I don't know whether this is like made up in my own little brain, but I feel like if I layer my products it's gonna stay on better. And I've never really tried doing like either on their own for like a full day anyway, so who knows, maybe I could use just the cream and it would work fine. But anyway I'm excessive, let's just leave it at that. So I'm using the Rosy for Autograph Killer Contour Stick. This is my favourite contour stick of all time. Only you can see how it is my favourite because I have completely run out of it. Well, not completely, there's like bits left. So I have a little concealer brush. Well, I say concealer, I don't know if it's used for concealer, I'm using it for concealer. So I'm going to take some of that. Now I'm going to say contouring is not going to be the same for everyone. Everyone has different shaped faces, everyone has things that they want to like improve on, if that's why you want to contour. So I'm just going to do like the basic areas rather than just do like one specifically for my face shape, because obviously that wouldn't work for everyone. So we're going to go in under my cheekbone. Now I don't like to do the whole sucking the cheeks in, then that just doesn't work for me. But what I find, you can either do it with your finger or with a brush. If you just feel where you get like that little dip just underneath the cheekbone, that's where I put mine. So for me, mine's going to be by here. Obviously if your cream contour stick is full you can just go straight in with that, but unfortunately I need to buy a new one. The other thing to know about contouring is that it isn't going to make your face look skinny, it just isn't. But I tend not to do contouring to make my face look skinny because it's just not going to work. I just use contour and it's more to just give my face slightly more of a natural like dimension to the face. So obviously wearing foundation can make your face look quite like flat on one colour, so I like to put some colour back into it. So I'm going to take some of this as well, just along the hairline, just to help things all blend in. I'm not bringing it too like far down the forehead though. I'm keeping it more closer to the hairline just for like a bit of natural colour, because if you bring it too far down it is going to make your forehead smaller. So that's a good little tip to know, that if you've already got a smaller forehead, if you put on quite a bit of contour on your forehead, it is going to make it look even smaller. So that's the whole thing of contour really, is that only contour the areas that you want to like make small or make it look more like sculpted. Yeah, I tend just to like to take it around the outer perimeter of my face. I mean, that tends to be, if you were gonna like tan naturally, the kind of outer perimeter tends to tan a bit more on me anyway. And then I'm gonna take a little bit just by here, and then I'm gonna draw a line underneath then. So obviously you've probably seen some people, they'll contour by here, they might contour by here. Myself personally, if I do that, it'll look too crazy, be too much. But obviously if you've got, say, a more prominent chin that you want to contour, then obviously you would go ahead and you would do that. I mean, I tend not to contour my nose, but for the sake of this video I will. Just take a little bit of that more on the tip. And just run it down the side. And then take a little bit around the tip area. And then I just like to, with no extra product, just whatever's left on there, just run that as if you're going up towards the brows, just in like that little hollow by there. Just to blend it all in so it's not just like solid lines. And then something that I do like to do is taking a little bit underneath my bottom lip. So that's just going to make more of a shadow. It'll just make your bottom lip look a bit more pouty, I suppose. So I'm going to blend all that in now. Now I've used brushes, I've used sponge, I've used fingers. You can pretty much just do anything to blend in. I'm just going to use a damp beauty sponge to blend mine in. Okay, so that is blended in now. It's all blended in. Yeah. So what you may have noticed is that when I was blending on the cheek area, I was pulling it upwards. So that's something that you want to make sure that you are always blending it upwards, never blend it down, because otherwise you're just going to get a really like muddy looking area then, and obviously you're trying to keep it as sharp and as clean as possible. Now I'm going to go in with the powder side of it. So I'm going to use my Pixi highlight and contour palette. I know some people use bronzers for contouring. I prefer not to, just because I find them a little bit too warm. I prefer my contours to be slightly more on the ashy side. Not super ashy, but just more like on the grey toned rather than like a super warm bronzer, because I like to use my bronzer the same as what you would do with like a transition shade. I like to use my bronzer to blend it all together so it doesn't look super like. So I'm going to mix those two shades. Dab a little bit off on the back of my hand because these are quite pigmented. And I've just got it on the one side. And then I just go over the top of where I had the cream contour. And I'll blend that. And then I'll add a little bit more. So that's another little tip I can say, is that going with teeny tiny amounts, because it's easier to add than what it is to try and take away if you go a bit too cray with it. Okay, so again you may have noticed along the cheek area, keep it to that hollow and blend it upwards is the key, making sure that you're not getting any product down here. And yeah, it's just pretty much going over the same spots, so it's just going to make it look that bit more like dramatic, a bit more striking. Now onto the highlighting part. So whereas if you think with the contour bits was the bit you either want to make smaller or take it in more, creating more shadow, the bits that you want to highlight are the things that you want to like bring forward, bring more focus to it. So I tend to use a concealer. So this one is my Kat Von D Locker Concealer in Warm. It isn't a super like bright white Kim Kardashian kind of bright concealer, but it's still lighter than the contour bits. I'm going to take some of that. Now I've wiped quite a lot of the excess off of this wand because it is a really full coverage concealer. I am going to do more of like the triangle thin, and I don't want loads and loads of product. So I tend to bring it down and then drag it upwards then, just to create that nice like highlighted lifted look. And then go in Beauty Blender and blend it all out. Okay, now I'm going to take some of that concealer then, just a teeny tiny bit down the bridge of the nose, so that's like in the middle of where you've put the contour to. Take a little bit by here, Cupid's bow. And some people like to take a bit on the chin, so let's do it. And then in the middle of the forehead. So again, if you are someone who has more of a larger forehead, you probably wouldn't want to put anything highlighting on there because it's going to accentuate it and make it look bigger. Now, what some people also like to do with the highlighting bit is go underneath your contour. So say that. And get it in your hair at the same time. Yeah, this isn't something that I do like on a daily basis, but if I'm feeling a bit more bougie, then I will. Okay, so now with those highlighted bits, I'm also going to set that, and I'm going to set that with this yellow powder. I'm going to use the same brush because I am lazy, just rub off the contour. I'm going to take this yellow powder and hit all the places where I've highlighted. Yeah, so another good little tip is that when you're setting anything cream based, so when you're putting powder on, don't wipe it on, push it on. That way it's not going to move the cream or liquid product underneath. And you're pressing it into the skin as opposed to just wiping it away. Yeah, so the yellow powder is going to help to brighten and just accentuate the highlighting that you're going to be doing. So now this is when I like to go in with my bronzer. So this isn't really essential to the contouring routine, but I like to go in with my bronzer. I'm going in with a different one because I'm not a huge fan of the bronzer in that Pixie palette, so I prefer this one. So I will go over where I've contoured, but bring it more upwards then. And then it all blends in there. Take a bit down the whole neck. Okay, now I'm going to pop a little bit of blush on. So again, I'm just going to use the one that's in this palette. So I'm just going to smile a bit so you can get the the really fat part of the cheek, and then drag it backwards then. I've got really chubby cheeks. I feel like I've got hamster cheeks, so like the kind of cheeks that it looks like you're hoarding food in there for the winter. It's not bad for them though. I quite like it. Okay, so that's blush on, and now we're going to go with the highlighter. So I'm going to go with the other side of the brush, not the one I've been using for contour, the side that I use more for putting on the yellow powder. And then you're just going to hit that at the top of the cheekbone. I do like to go a little bit around the top of the brow as well. So it's like a C motion. So yeah, take some of the highlighter down the bridge of the nose and tiny little bit on the tip. And on the cupid's bow as well. So all this highlighting along with the contouring is just going to help accentuate your cheekbones. So this is a really good tip for people who aren't naturally blessed with Angelina Jolie style cheekbones. It isn't going to give you the exact cheekbones, but like I said, it just gives a bit more dimension to the face rather than just being like completely one colour flat, that's it. So the last thing that I like to do then is just get, this is a brush from Lola, I think it's the stippling brush, I want to say, stippling brush. So I'd like to get that, no product on there, and just give everything a nice once over, nice little blend. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. That's what I do to contour. I don't get any rulers out, I don't measure things. It is literally just to give my face a little bit more definition. Like I said, if you really want to go hardcore into it, it is probably best to actually Google what is the best way to contour for your face shape, because everyone's faces are different and you can't really just go with one size fits all. But yeah, the main things to take away from it is that only contour in the areas that you want to like reduce, make them look smaller, or to pull them in, and only highlight the places that you want to accentuate, make bigger, and you know, highlight to the world. I think really that's about it for contour. It is very straightforward. It sounds really like, oh my god, how do I contour? It's pretty much just putting stripes on your face and then blending. So yeah, that is everything that I think that I can teach you on contouring and highlighting. So I hope that this has helped some people who have been struggling with it. If you've got any questions on it, then just comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.